So again, we see a pattern of something uniquely different about a classical education, classical Christian education, and the servile government education, being trained strictly for your role in society. What effect do you think that has on a society?
It destroys it. I mean, look around. Our civilization has crumbled. Like we're living in the ruins of a once great civilization. And what has happened is largely due to what has happened in education. So, about 100 years ago or so, the progressives who sought to secularize our society and remove God from the public square.
Yeah, stick just with the facts, right?
Right.
We're not going to give a student any capacity to ascertain or understand the facts. We're just going to give them the utilitarian facts and train them for a role.
Mm-hmm.
Seems a little insidious.
So, but that's exactly what they did. And they took over education in this country, made government schooling compulsory. So now every kid has to go, right? They make it free, pass a law that says all the kids have to go. And so an entire society now stuck in a government school system that removes God from the equation and says, now we're just going to study the facts of math. You don't need to know why it's this way, right? You just need to know that 2 + 2 = 4.
Helps you with your taxes.
Right? It'll help you pay your taxes. Okay. And they have done this in order to not have citizen kings, because of course, citizen kings are very difficult to tyrannize. Serfs are very easy to tyrannize. And so if we can go back to this servile system where we just condition the student to live a life of service to the system, then we can tyrannize them much more easily.
Control them.
We can control them much more easily.
Sounds Orwellian.
It is Orwellian.
That's terrifying.
So it's interesting, the modern school system and structure was actually built on or designed on the factory model. And so these kids are basically going through a factory where, you have all the kids of all the same age in, one particular room at a particular time, and they're conditioned to do this thing here, and then the bell rings and they get up and they move along to the next place on the assembly line. And throughout the whole thing, they're just being conditioned to respond appropriately to certain stimuli. Right? The teacher says, we're going to do this now. It's just they're conditioning them to have certain responses. And so by the time they get out, they're conditioned to go off to the workplace, sell whatever skill they have, pay their taxes, keep their head down. They don't have the skills to ask questions. They can't say to the government, "Why are you bombing those people?" Right? They're servile.
Right.
And so, you asked the question earlier about government schools and sort of why they are the way they are and how they got this way. Well, this is how they specifically cut out the classical Christian aspect of schooling and replaced it with a servile, humanistic, secular objective and system. And
utterly utilitarian.
Returning
us to that feudal state,
yes,
which we climbed our way out of.
Yes.
God was gracious enough to allow us to climb our way out of.